just before the election, this woman came out with these phenomenal numbers on Biden's economy. It's a scam, in my opinion. My opinion is it's just additional scam.
Now we got to talk about something President Trump just did that I have some serious qualms with and I think is going to backfire on him. And this has to do with firing a top official at the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Here is Fox News reporting on Trump's decision to make a pretty controversial move.
Yeah, Martha, those revisions, they caught the eye of the markets. They also caught the eye of the president. Now he has fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a Biden appointee from 2023. Now, following up on that, the labor secretary posted on X, and she says this. I want to read this to you. Quote, "I support the president's decision to replace Biden commissioner and ensure the American people can trust the important and influential data coming from the BLS." There is her post just now. A huge revisions caught again the tension of the markets here, which are down. The Dow is down. Jobs created, they revised down by 125,000 for May, making only 19,000 jobs created that month. The revisions down for June, 133,000 jobs, just 14,000 created.
So before I get into my take on this, here is what Trump had to say about it.
We'll be announcing a new statistician sometime over the next 3-4 days. We had no confidence. I mean, the numbers were ridiculous, what she announced, but that was just one negative number. All of the numbers seem to be great. And so we'll see how that comes out. And if you remember, just before the election, this woman came out with these phenomenal numbers on Biden's economy. Phenomenal numbers. And then right after the election, they announced that those numbers were wrong. And that's what they did the other day. So it's a scam, in my opinion. My opinion is it's just additional scam.
So the allegation is essentially that this Biden official, Erica McTarfer, who oversaw the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they're accusing her of fraud, of cooking the books, of putting out fake job numbers to bolster Biden and to now, this past month, to undercut Trump. Now, the thing about this is that it is true that normally when you have a president come in, they change out a lot of the nominees and positions, but this is a position that overlaps. So basically the terms expire in the middle of the presidency, but for the first several years, Biden had Trump's nominee, who we will discuss later, still in place and didn't fire him, waited for the term to expire, then put his own person in, who is this woman who has just been fired early, Erica McTarfer. Now, Trump legally most likely has the right to fire her, but it is very unusual to do it before the term is up like this, and he's making very serious allegations against her that she's cooking the books with these job numbers that we need to unpack. And frankly, when you look into it, these claims quickly fall apart. Not only are they not really presenting any evidence, but Trump himself praised this very woman's numbers just a month ago. The White House wrote in early July when the June numbers came out, "June boom. Jobs report shows the economy continues to soar under President Trump." So when the numbers were good for Trump, he praised this woman's work and cited her and said, "Oh, look at these amazing numbers." But when the numbers were not good, all of a sudden she's a fraudster and a scammer and cooking the books against him. Funny how that works. Trump also claims that she covered up bad job numbers till after the election to try to help Biden, but this is actually not true. In August of 2024, the Bureau of Labor Statistics announced a massive revision downward in job numbers, actually the second largest downward revision in BLS history, just 3 months before the election. If they were just cooking the books to help Harris at that point, they wouldn't have done that. And in fact, just 4 days before the election, the October 2024 jobs report was released that showed only 12,000 jobs added, which is a very low figure and one that Trump explicitly used on the campaign trail to bash Biden-Harris. So it's just not true that she meddled with the numbers to help Biden before the election, but Trump is citing that as justification for the very unusual move he's making here, even though it is not true. And it's telling to me that even the former BLS commissioner, which Trump appointed, named William Beach, has come out in a statement and in a subsequent interview and condemned this move. He is a conservative economist, and he wrote in a post, "The totally groundless firing of Dr. Erica McTarfer, my successor as Commissioner of Labor Statistics at BLS, sets a dangerous precedent and undermines the statistical mission of the Bureau." Here's what he said further in an interview on CNN.
Can you explain to us, the president said that the BLS commissioner rigged these numbers.
Yeah.
What do you think?
There's no way for that to happen. The commissioner doesn't do anything to collect the numbers. The commissioner doesn't see the numbers until Wednesday before they're published. By the time the commissioner sees the numbers, they're all prepared. They're locked into the computer system. The only thing the commissioner does on Wednesday is to kind of do the edits on the text. So there's no hands-on at all for the commissioner. I was commissioner, and I was sometimes locked out of the process of actually, where the people were working in the building. So there's no way for doing that. I don't think there's any grounds at all for this firing, and it really hurts the statistical system. It undermines credibility in BLS. Suppose that they get a new commissioner, and this person, male or female, are just the best people possible, right? And they do a bad number. Well, everybody's going to think, well, it's not as bad as it probably really is, because they're going to suspect political influence. So this is damaging. This is not what we need to have.
So it's telling to me that even this guy, who was a conservative economist who was Trump's appointee from his first term, rejects this move. Trump is just shooting the messenger because he's unhappy about these numbers rather than reckoning with the reality. Now, that said, I want to acknowledge there is a problem with these numbers. They have gotten less accurate, these job numbers from the BLS in recent years, but it is not a political or partisan issue. It's not about fraud. It's not about rigging the system in favor of one party. It's an issue that traces back to the COVID-19 pandemic and a huge fall off in the survey response rates from businesses that the Bureau of Labor Statistics relies on to come up with these numbers. So the conservative National Review journalist, Dominic Pino, who covers economics, pointed this out on X. He wrote, "Jobs report accuracy has suffered in recent years because the response rate to the BLS's establishment survey has fallen off a cliff since COVID. It has nothing to do with ideology or politics." He added in another tweet, "Are you mad about jobs report inaccuracy? One reason it has gotten harder in recent years is declining survey response rates. But there was an unpaid advisory group of statistical experts that was working on solving that problem at its last meeting before Howard Lutnick disbanded it." He's referring here to the Federal Economic Statistics Advisory Committee, which was this advisory, unpaid committee of volunteers that helped the BLS and helped the Labor Department. And they were working on improving this, but the Trump administration came in and shut down the commission. And it's not really clear why, because, again, these were unpaid volunteers, so it wasn't even costing significant taxpayer funds. So the whole thing is ridiculous to me. It's a massive, massive error and mistake by the president that, frankly, is a little bit chilling. It is the kind of thing, Democrats and liberals will cry dictator at anything Trump does. But this idea of shooting the messenger, of firing officials who give you bad data because you're upset about the data, rather than, acknowledging the data or trying to improve it, is something that you will see more authoritarian leaders do in regimes. And it's not the kind of thing that you hope to ever see in a country like America. The final point here, though, is that this is also a lose-lose for Trump, because he's now put this massive cloud over this whole thing. So if he puts in a new person and say this person, the next numbers are good, right? They show good jobs numbers, the Trump economy doing great. Well, people won't believe them now. Now they're going to think, well, he just put in his cronies to rig the numbers because he wasn't happy with how they're going. And I will understand why people will have enormous skepticism and doubts. But if the numbers aren't good, if he puts in his cronies and then the numbers come out not good in the next couple months, then he'll look ridiculous for doing this. There really is no way that this comes off as a win for Trump or for anyone. So I think it's a massive mistake, and that he is throwing a temper tantrum and running the government based on emotion and conspiracy theories rather than rationality or logic. But other than that, the president is doing amazing on this one.